Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'd like to show you how I made this card. I've seen this now a couple of times out there and I just had to try it. I think it's so cute. This little dragonfly sits on the front of your card, and when you open it, what happens is his wings slide through the opening, and then you have your dragonfly on the inside of your card. Isn't that just the cutest thing? So it's actually quite a simple card to make, and so I'll show you what it takes to do that. And I used a card base of Wisteria Wonder 8.5 by 5.5 scored and folded at 4 1/4. Then I have a piece that is 4 by 5 1/4 for the inside. Then I have a piece of this delightful daisy paper that is cut 4 by 5 1/4 for the outside. Then I have a scrap of white and a couple of scraps of the Wisteria Wonder. And then I have 2 strips of the designer series paper to decorate the inside of the card. So what we need is to cut out our dragonfly, and I'm using the smaller of the dragonfly framelets here, or thinlets, and I've cut out my dragonfly ahead of time here. And then we're going to use the rounded label punch here to cut out a label out of this piece of Wisteria Wonder here. I'll do that. And then the other thing that we need is, this would be where you'd cut your dragonfly out of. Then we need a little bit of stamping, and I'm using Sending Wishes Your Way. And I'm actually stamping this in a darker color purple. I'm using the Elegant Eggplant to do my stamping here. So I'll take this out. I am going to ink this up and stamp out my sentiment here. There we go. So I'm going to set this in this punch. Get that centered and print this out, punch this out. And then what I'm going to do is use my sponge to just go right around the edges of this little sentiment here to get a little bit of the purple on the edges of my little label here. And then I think that's all I need the ink for. Then what I'm going to do is take my snips and I'm going to slice this label here right in half. And then I'm going to use my snail on the back of my white label here to put these little backing pieces on. And I'm going to slide this up so those ends kind of disappear right here on the edges. And I'm going to put one of those at the top and one at the bottom. And there we've got a nicely framed little sentiment there. So that's all ready to go. Now on this, I'm just going to put some snail on and add to the front of my card. So there we go with our sentiment on the front of the card, our designer series paper. And then this little piece I'm going to raise on dimensionals here and put into place, or get it ready to be put into place. And then I'm going to show you how to make room for your dragonfly and how to prepare that. So those pieces are ready. This is all ready. So let's work on this dragonfly and the pieces that we have here. And I'm going to bring out my trimmer, and I'm going to show you a little trick here to make this dragonfly a little easier to deal with. I'm going to put the dragonfly body right in the cutting channel on my trimmer, and I'm going to close that down, and I'm just going to use my scoring tool here right down the center. Let me move this out of the way now so you can see exactly what I've done. And I put a score mark, I think you can see that, yes you can, right down the center of the dragonfly. And that's so that I can fold him a little bit more easily. And so there I've got him all ready to go on my card. Now, this piece, what we're going to do is use this little label stamp here. And what we're going to do is open the card and put this card as far over so that it's butted right up against the edge of this punch, and we're going to punch through both of those pieces of paper. And I need it to be a little bit longer because the dragonfly body's just a little bit longer than that. So I'm going to set that back in with just another small amount here that I'm going to take off on the end. Make sure that's butted right up against the edge, and I'm going to take out that extra little piece. And you can see that's all of the piece that I took. And that now makes our opening big enough for the whole dragonfly body to fit inside that little slot that we just made. Okay, so now we're going to take this piece, and this is actually a very fast card once you have your die cut done, because there's just not much to it. And the drama of the little dragonfly going from the outside to the inside is kind of what makes this, and the pretty paper. So there we go, put my piece down, and then what I've got here are these 2 strips of the designer series paper, and they're each, let's see, they're about 4 inches long so that they fit on here. Oops, I can see that that one is going to be too long. So I'm just going to trim a piece off, and a 1/2 inch wide. Okay, so there we have our papers on the inside of the card. And the next thing we have to do is to get our dragonfly put down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is lay my dragonfly down here. And I'm going to use some glue dots. I'm going to put one right where his head is. And then I'm going to lay one after the other down his body here. And it looks like 3 or 4 might work, but I'm not going to push it there any further. And then what I'm going to do is use some Tombow liquid glue here down the tail. And I'm not going to put glue anyplace else because I don't want this to get hung up in any way on the card. So now I'm going to close this, and I'm going to put my butterfly in place here in the opening that we made, and make sure that his head is well inside the opening, and then the tail comes right down that opening, and I'm going to just hold that in place until the Tombow gets its grip on the tail, because you want something that's really, really strong here, because the idea that this opens this way is going to intrigue people, and so they're going to want to open and close it a couple of times. And so you want your glue to be very, very strong to hold this in place. Now then, you fold our little guy up here, and that should just work. So there we go. We've got him in there, and then you put his wings together, and he comes right back inside. Okay, I think on this one also, I'm going to take just a little extra on this fold to get this to lay as flat as possible. And when you snug that punch right up against this, the way it works is that this hole is in the perfect place so that your wings are on the inside of the card. Now we're going to put our sentiment in place here and add a few little pearls to this card, and we'll be done. So this one says sending wishes your way. It can be anything. When you open it up, it can say happy birthday, it can say thank you, it can say just about anything. So there we go. And I've got some pearls ready to go here, and I put one of the largest pearls on this piece here, and then this is still part of my stash from the old way we had material on these embellishments. So I've got this, I think is my maybe my last package of these, and so I'm gonna now have to get some of the newer packaged ones. But I just put some random pearls around the outside of this card, and I didn't purposely put any on the dragonfly because I didn't want to impede his opening, but you know, you might be able to get away with one. Let's try one and see what happens. I didn't want to impede the card opening and have pearls get in the way of the butterfly or the dragonfly. The other thing is you could use some of these very tiny ones and just put some stuff around on the card. In fact, let's try that. We'll put a couple little baby ones right down the center here and see, because I think that dresses up our dragonfly a bit. I'm going to space a couple of them down there. There, just like that. And I think that will not impede the opening of our dragonfly. Nope, it doesn't affect it at all. So you can put a few little embellishments right on the dragonfly body itself. So there we go. That is our project for the day. A nice, quick card, but I think with a pretty good impact. So let's see here. Let me put these two next to each other. And, oh, Wink of Stella. What I did was I put some Wink of Stella on my dragonfly's body here. And then just swept it across the wings here. I didn't want to completely cover it. When you see dragonflies out and about, they have parts where their wings are iridescent, and it looks intermittent to me. And so just pulling this across here just gives a little hint of that. And I can see that I ended up with two little pieces that didn't punch all the way out. So I'm going to get those out of there. There we go. All right, so there is our project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator, and or you could join my team. Joining now is a particularly good time because we've just passed a quarter end, and so you get quite a long runway before your first minimum is due. And then that gets you into the fourth quarter and through the end of the year. And let's see, the prize draw for this month is the embossing package. It is a Versamark pad, re-inker, an embossing buddy, and gold, copper, silver, clear, and white embossing powders. So it's a really nice embossing package. And so that's it for me today. I'll be back soon with more cards and more projects. Bye!